and welcome to the last trash talk on Battlegroup in a long while, where I will be talking about the various ship hulls you could put in your fleet in Lancer Battlegroup, and in this episode, we will be talking about the Battleship, Part 2. As I have already mentioned what battleships are, let's go straight to the FKS battleships, which are called battle cruisers, having the highest defense of all battleships that aren't named the Louis XIV, but also the lowest health of all battleships that also aren't named the Louis XIV, both of course, represents the pinnacle of KTB naval design doctrine. The Calendula is a 7-pointer battleship that isn't really special at all, except for the part that it has 2 super heavy slots. That's right, in a game where every single battleship and 1 frigate are basically firing muskets, the Calendula waltzes right in while dual-wielding flintlocks. It also has 1 primary end system, which is something I guess. Also, just to prevent misunderstandings, where the Thorough is about firing all the guns, the Calendula is about firing the entire US military budget, in every single battle it fought in, for each ship. This is because of its traits, plural, overcharge capacitors, in which whenever you remove a charge counter from one of your charge guns, you can take 1 damage to give said weapon an overcharge counter, up to a maximum of 4, which can be an addition of 4d3 damage. Obviously, this cannot be healthy for the ship, but that's not the worst thing you can do to the ship, as the Calendula also has a limited special tactic called maximum power. It does exactly what you think. One of your super heavy will get all its charge counter removed and get 4 overcharge counters, meaning, you can immediately fire on the next impact phase. That's right, the Calendula also introduces the concept of quick draw like a cowboy into Battlegroup. Trouble is, this is quick draw on the naval scale, because the next impact phase is still the next turn, which also means your opposing side will know you will definitely be firing the gun next turn and will be prepared for it. However, this tactic will still let you fire any super heavy charge gun on turn 2, up to and including the Spinal Tachyon Lance, which can deal up to 40 damage on crit, before bonus damage, which is practically enough to kill everything that isn't a giant, and even then, for most with it, it will not save them. It's just that the cost of having a Calendula means that your enemy will know you will be up to some stupid super heavy shenanigans, and unfortunately, that's not all the problem you will be facing, as after firing a super heavy through maximum power, the gun fucking explodes and you can't use it for the rest of the battle. You also take 4 damage from the overcharge counters, but thankfully, this can't put you below 1, this applies to overcharge capacitors too. There's also the other Calendula's trait, Last Argument of Kings, in which it must have 1 super heavy charge gun, as otherwise why do you even have a Calendula? But this does mean that you don't need to equip all the charge guns for Calendula. Maybe you want a co-consciousness lance, or near light pack for the second super heavy. This is the other strength of Calendula, it has 2 super heavy slots, which in turn means you have some tactical flexibility for it unlike all other battleships. That said, sometimes, all the firepower just solves everything. Next, there's the Hesperus, a 7-pointer battleship with 1 super heavy, 2 primary, and 1 escort. Surprisingly, nothing special once again, until you look down and see this wall of text. Let me explain. The idea of Hesperus is that someone in the book decided that missile is the future of warfare like in real life. However, this is the baronies we are talking about, so the missiles are the size of goddamn capital, comes with auxiliary slot for fire support, can perform defensive screen duty like frigate, and probably comes with a coffee machine possessed by a homunculus of a SSC master artisan from the Terashima Enclave. You might ask, how does 100,000 tons missile pour coffee for someone? The simplest answer would be difficultly, but this is the baronies, they are rich and wasteful enough to throw mana at these kinds of unusual problems anyway. But yes, to sum it up, this is the go-to battleship if you like payload. Like all the payloads, it comes with 2 traits. Impact Assurance Targeting lets you remove 1 flight counter from your active payload attack, or remove lock-on to force enemy to reroll their interdiction roll and pick the worst one. This trait alone makes payload attack more powerful with the Hesperus, but of course the baronies have to add in all the extra crap. Its other trait is the self-contained kill vehicles. It basically does everything I have told you, and to fire it, treat it as a super heavy payload attack that deals 12 damage on impact. It also automatically fires if you move or get pulled into range 1 to 0, something payload heavy Battlegroup like to do because it lets their missile reach their target faster. Also, every time you use the all-ahead full maneuver, which brings you closer to the enemy, this increases the damage of the unfired SCKV by 2 to a maximum of 8, giving you 20 damage max, so you really want to go full steam ahead with this ship. And while it can perform screening duty, there's a problem in using a goddamn missile for that role. It can, yeah no, explode, dealing damage to the ship it screens, but it also deal area damage to the enemy battle group that destroyed it, and unfortunately, the same could happen if the missile get destroyed when it's still right next to you, dealing a painful 1d6+1 area damage to your entire battle group. Hope you don't have escorts around. Speaking of escort, the one slot Hesperus has, I suggest putting payload outrider escort for it. It will make your payload hits even harder and better. And yes, this means that it quickly becomes a game of risk and reward when using the Hesperus. You can move forward to increase the SCKV damage and let them reach target faster, but it might risk them getting destroyed in the process and getting you damaged instead, so you can't exactly just mindlessly charge straight forward all the time. For the last section of the battleship, there's the IPSN battle carrier. I don't think I even need to explain what they are good at, and thankfully, they do not have massive walls of texts around. The Greenland is a 6-point battleship with 30 goddamn health but only 10 defense, a stat both IPSN battleships share, and it comes with 1 super heavy, 1 primary, and 3 wings. It also comes with special trait and maneuver that truly defines its designation. Hook Jab lets it launch a wing for free whenever anything in your battle group consumes a lock-on, and its limited maneuver, Body Blow, lets you fully repair a wing even when it is destroyed. Fire 1 super heavy or 2 primary, and then launch all the wings for free. It's very similar to Thoreau's Unleash Hell, except it lets you Battlestar Galactica the shit out of something. Finally, there's the Island, also a 6-pointer battleship that's interestingly called a command carrier instead, because it's technically not a battleship, it's a mobile shipyard with a gun. It also comes with 1 super heavy, 1 system, and 3 goddamn escorts, making it a battleship that can carry harder than a carrier. It also comes with a trait called Superior Logistics, which gives it 3 additional points to spend on escorts, and those escorts also have 2 extra overshield for protection, just to make it the best escort carrier ever existed. And yes, as a reminder, the Greenland do not get the free point for escorts or wings that carriers have. The Island even comes with a limited tactic called Combat Refit, which lets you repair up to 3 escorts from your or others battle group in the same range band to full health, even if those escorts are destroyed, and then you can launch 2 of the ship's escorts for free, so if an unlucky missile strike destroyed all of your escorts, it doesn't matter for the Island, it will endure. And that's all on these battleships that I have reviewed, from the double-barreled Calendula that seeks more firepower at the cost of everything, the capital missile-equipped Hesperus that knows where you live because it knows where it isn't yet, the battle-carrying Greenland that can grind its enemies down with guns and wings, and the logistic enduring Island that seek to outlast everything else. Anyway, with everything done, for the most part, Trashtalk on Battlegroup will now be put on hiatus until more Battlegroup stuff arrive. It has certainly been fun talking about all these capital ships, and don't worry, there's still some Battlegroup stuff left to do, like a tutorial as an example. That's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.